Welcome to Svoboda, your new home. Home to over 5,000 people, our city is hidden in the mountains deep within the Great Basin. Our city is home to many different people of many different ages, religions, ethnicities, and more. We have many different jobs on offer here, but your arrival at this time of year means you have been brought in to help with agriculture for the biggest event of the year in our city. Our 4th of July festival is very well known among those who still have their freedom, and many people are unfortunately turned away. Since 1996, when the population of Svoboda was just 128, we have held a festival on the 4th of July to celebrate the event many cannot celebrate. We wish to keep the dying American identity alive, so we celebrate the most American holiday out there in the grandest scale possible. This fact is rather ironic considering the founder of this city, Nikolai Ilyev, was a Russian Navy general who defected from the forces after seeing the atrocities they committed firsthand. In 1992, he worked with American survivors to help build this city, and when granted the position of mayor, he named it Svoboda, Russian for freedom. In the almost 30 years since the city was built, it has grown to become a beacon of freedom for all survivors, as long as they can aid the city. This time of year sees the greatest rise in population as people are brought in to help run the festival. Today's arrivals are for those hired to work in the agriculture business. Our crops are grown using our mountain tunnels, where the first settlements were built inside the mountains. Our state-of-the-art technology uses an aquifer discovered by the city in 2004, which helps to provide food for the population. Due to the scale of this event, we bring in more workers to help grow and harvest these crops, to provide food for the event. You have been handpicked by the leader of agriculture, and she expects you to operate to the best of your abilities. This event has been a resounding success since its inception, and this year's will be the largest in the history of the city, so we request you work as hard as you can to ensure things go smoothly. Any further details will be shared with you soon, but I will now leave you to unpack, get things set up, and to settle into the wonderful city of Svoboda. See you soon.
Вы загрузите программное обеспечение и начните. Начните отслеживать сейчас.
We apologize for the interruption to regular programming. Please pay attention. Emergency information and instructions will follow. This activation of the Svoboda Emergency Alert System has been authorized by the Svoboda Civil Defense Department. The Svoboda 4th of July festival initially appeared to be a resounding success, but we have received information that a spy infiltrated the city during the hours before the festival commenced. They apparently managed to slip past our background checks and ID verification, and relayed his location back to Russian forces. We cannot confirm the legitimacy of this event, but considering it is well documented that the Russian forces use the full might of their army to destroy survivor civilizations, we are not willing to risk not taking action. As such, The city is now in lockdown. Nobody can enter or exit. This is to ensure the spy cannot leave the premises. Entries to the city from the past 24 hours will be reviewed and they will be detained and searched. CCTV footage will be reviewed and any suspicious persons will be detained, searched and questioned. Do not fear. We believe in innocence until proven otherwise, and you will not be treated any less than the normal citizen unless we can prove you are the spy. The threat level of the city has been raised to level 4, meaning those who applied to be in the reserves must report to the commander by 5 p.m. We must prepare for a potential military invasion of the city from the Russian forces. Those who applied to be in the reserves will be armed and training will commence shortly. Other people will also be informed of their tasks to prevent the destruction of the city. Surveillance teams may be deployed to monitor the surrounding area and to determine areas from which the Russians may approach the city. We have contacted other settlements, but they have seen or heard nothing relating to this event. Citizens of the city should be aware that we may be forced to evacuate into the lower cave segments of the city if we can confirm the Russians plan to attack the city. Have all essential items ready to take down to the caves at short notice, and clear as much non-essential items away as possible to ensure that if the evacuation order is issued, people can move down to the caves as quickly as possible. Weapon and ammunition supplies are being moved up from the caves and the city's defenses are being prepared. We are in contact with other settlements and we have more supplies and personnel being brought in to help defend the city. The settlements of Balo and Pool have informed us they plan to send in a combined 1,300 soldiers to help defend the city. We are listening to Russian communication frequencies but unfortunately have heard nothing relating to the situation. That is all the information we currently have. Stay tuned and stay alert as more information may be given should we have any further developments as time passes.
До сих пор они готовят свою защиту. Я не могу выскользнуть из помещения, так как они его заперли, и, скорее всего, они скоро меня найдут.
Застревание сигнала препятствовало тому, чтобы программное обеспечение блокировало город. Ракеты будут выпущены в общей близости, но нет никакой гарантии, что они поразят город.
This is an emergency warning authorized by the Svoboda Civil Defense Department. There have been more developments in the situation. Once the threat level had been raised to 4 yesterday, signal jammers were activated to hide our location. Recently, the Russian army attempted to lock onto the city and fire missiles, but our jammers prevented them from obtaining a successful target lock, leading to them firing missiles with no lock. We counted 16 missiles in total, fired over a period of 40 minutes. All struck the ground within a 5-mile radius of the city, the closest striking within 1.5 miles of the city. There has been no damage to the base, but due to the fact that a missile could strike the city, citizens are ordered to evacuate to the lower caves for their safety. Take only essential items, such as food and water, clothes and toiletries. Evacuate to the lower caves as quickly as possible. With them firing missiles so close to the city, it is not outside the realm of possibility that one could strike the city. To prevent major loss of life, we advise you evacuate as quickly as possible. The city of Pool has informed us they have spotted Russian army regiments approximately 7 miles away from the city. They are approaching from the south, and while the city is hidden by the mountains, they are heading north and the city will soon be partially visible.
It is likely they will spot the city and begin an attack. The reserves have begun their preparations. The troops sent to aid us are just now entering the city, and they will soon rendezvous with our own troops to prepare for the almost inevitable offensive on the city. We will share further details with you when we receive.
Мы можем подтвердить, что ракеты поразили город. Мы не будем наносить дальнейшие удары, поскольку войска находятся в этом районе, и мы сообщили им о местонахождении города. Это 3 часа.
I will not share my identity, but I will have you know I am in a position of power in this city. This is not something I ever thought I would have to broadcast. I have been in this city for 13 years and never did I see this city being in this much danger. Many of you will have evacuated to the lower caves for your safety. But unfortunately the Russians have sent thousands of troops to destroy the city, and our army will eventually be outgunned. Eventually the Russians will break through our defenses and reach the lower caves, leaving the evacuated citizens completely exposed and allowing them to butcher us. Make no mistake, if they get down there, they will show no mercy. They never do to survivors. As it currently stands, they will completely obliterate us. Their superior numbers and almost robotic approach to destroying survivor settlements means we have virtually no chance. There is one thing we can do to increase our chances. We urge those hiding in the lower caves to stand up and fight. To show no fear. To show we will not bow down to the oppressive Russian regime which aims to enslave or slay us all. It is not an ideal situation, and I understand many of you may not be in the state of mind to lay down your lives, but to not do so is to confirm the demise of you and everyone you know. Stepping up and uniting as one could lead to the survival of the city. Those who wish to stand up to protect Svoboda should report to the Civil Defense Department barracks and you will be briefed. To all those who wish to stand up and defend the city, we thank you for your courage, bravery, and willpower.
Distress signal detected. Source: Svoboda. Playback beginning.
They're slaughtering us out here. We are outnumbered 5 to 1. Most of our soldiers have never had any professional training in their lives. Send anybody you have. They're throwing everything at us. This is Svoboda Civil Defense. We request immediate assistance. At this rate they'll wipe the city off the map within the...
This is Svoboda Civil Defense. This message is to all those still hiding in the lower caves. The Russian troops have arrived in the city and they're absolutely obliterating us. We're severely outnumbered, the majority of our fighters have no military training, and they're up against Russian soldiers who have been trained from birth. They're a class above us and the city is almost certainly going to be destroyed. To those listening to this who aren't in the caves, run. Abandon the city. Anybody who remains here will be killed, simple as. There is no ifs or buts, they will not show mercy or allow you to join them, they will slaughter you like a farm animal. To those in the caves, I am afraid this is the end for you. The security systems have been critically damaged and the blast doors are permanently jammed. Nobody can leave. The Russians will eventually take over the city and reach the lower caves. While the doors are able to withstand a lot of force, the Russians are heavily armed, and once they become aware survivors are on the other side of it, they will stop at nothing to get in. Once they do, they will kill you. It will not be quick. They will torture you. The Russians, since their invasion of the US in 1987, have wanted to destroy any icon of American culture. They will stop at nothing to snuff out anything even remotely American, so they will try to get maximum pleasure from butchering American survivors. Our advice is this: commit suicide. There are firearms inside the lower caves. Use those to commit suicide. Death is not a pleasant idea and many of you will refuse, but unfortunately your deaths are sealed. You are left with a choice. A quick and painless death at the hands of a firearm, or a painful and agonizing death at the hands of a disgusting Russian regime who will butcher you like a pig. The quickest way to commit suicide with a firearm is to place the muzzle to the roof of your mouth and pull the trigger. This ensures a quick and virtually painless death. This is Svoboda Civil Defense. The city will fall soon. We thank you for your service over the years, but this is the end. We will see you in the next live.